Hi everyone, it's Poppi Thrash. Thank y'all so much for y'all support, y'all kindness, and Merry Christmas. I have to wear my boys, the Beatles, and don't they look so cute? Like they're like little elves. How adorable is that? I just want to say thank y'all so much for supporting my channel, my art, my craziness, and just like my serious talks about like mental health, workplace issues, being neurodivergent is seriously a pleasure. I also created a Buy Me a Coffee because not only do I create that to support, the further growth in the channel, trust me, I am blessed with y'all support. But I also want to take a portion of that money and donate to businesses that also are in the same boat where they're not getting the financial or support they deserve. So yes, it's going to be linked below the video, and let's get started. So this video I wanted to talk to y'all about was, don't get me wrong, as much as I love traveling, it has moments where I had pretty, unfortunately, dangerous moments. And this one I'm going to tell you about the times where I had travel horror stories, from ones we could laugh at and ones that were not so funny. So let's get started with the most hilarious one. I'll say my most one hilarious one I could laugh at, honestly, was I was on my way to St. Thomas, the United States Virgin Islands, and let's just say I was on a plane with my best friend at the time, and this man, I guess he was feeling really comfortable in that plane, cause this man, he was a hefty guy. I'm not gonna lie, respect to him, but he wasn't really respectful to my outfit because he literally was slumped on his chair, and I was just like, okay, it's cool you're comfortable, but can you close your legs and stop man spreading, please? Like, I think that would be really great. And Bestie had a nerve to just like, when I tried to scoot over a little bit, because it's limited seat on the airlines, he like just angled his body towards me. And I'm just like, oh my god, like, man, move. Like, close your legs, do something. And then, next thing you know it, as soon as I kind of like, went a little bit more to my bestie, because my bestie, he was also sleeping too. Um, I remember like this man, he literally just like went like this and leaned his head over. Like he has his left hand on his knee. And I was just thinking to myself, like, why does my shirt feel a little bit wet? This man drooled on me. I was so disgusted. I was just like, ew. And I didn't have a choice to escape because, like, with budget airlines, they have a very strict seating assignment. So once you're in your seat and the flight is full, what else can you do? So I was stuck for that until we landed at the airport. I just went to the bathroom and just wiped off my shirt after they welcomed us to free rum off the plane. And I was just like, this man need to go ahead and close his mouth, like, and say sorry to me for just drooling on my shirt. Yeah, I was pretty grossed out by that. It's like one of those things where I could just look back and laugh at it. But at the same time, though, at that time, I was like, oh my god, this is so disgusting. Um, Another travel horror that I had, unfortunately, it looks like St. Thomas still takes the cake for it. Me and my bestie, we had so much fun, and we were hanging out, just enjoying the island life. And I remember we got back on our flight home, and our layover was at Fort Lauderdale. And I'll never forget. Um, Here's the thing with I'm going to put you out there, Spirit Airlines. They had a policy before the one currently where if you smell, or if you're obnoxious, or if you're half naked or not dressed appropriately for a flight, you're not allowed on. But nowadays, they have that rule now. But back then, it's kind of like anything seemed to go. So this man, oh my god. I feel like he smelled so bad to the point I literally thought he just passed gas really badly. and and then my best friend, like we were just like looking around and we are kind of like, where is that smell coming from? And next thing you know, it lingered again, lingered a little more longer than what it should be, and me and him were just like, oh my god, like where is that smell coming from? And the man next to us was like me mugging the crap out of us, looking at us like we're the problem, and it was him. His behind was stinking. And the worst part about it, this poor man behind me, his face was so red. His face was like tomato red, and I felt so bad for him sitting behind that man that was stinking. And me and my best friend, like, we were just suffering on the plane, and I'm grateful I had the window seat. At least I could look out the window to distract myself. And my best friend was just sitting next to that man, and he was just suffering. And I remember, like, it got to a point where we were just thinking, like, why didn't the flight attendants kick off this man? Because, like, he was really, really boofing on that plane. And I was just thinking, like, I respect everyone in their situation and their medical situation, but to me, I'm just like, if you could get a plane ticket, you could get some soap. You know, soap and water will do. You know, they got some little showers in the airplane, airport. And when I think about that, I was just like, oh my god, like I can't believe this. And we were on there for 3 hours, all the way from St. Thomas all the way to Fort Lauderdale. We were tortured. And my best friend was a savage at the time. So as soon as the man that just kept me mugging, we kind of like were playing like cat and mouse. Like, you know, I was avoiding it, looking at the window seat, and my best friend, he was just like looking like he was looking all disgusted. And I remember when the man got off the plane after he was me mugging us and he walked off, my best friend out loud said, "That man effing reeked." And he had a nerve to look at us like that. I was like, "Stop, stop, 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 stop." And he was just like, "No, girl, he know he was stinking. That's nasty." And I was just so embarrassed. I was just like, "No, like chill, chill, chill. Don't make him out on molehill. At least it's over. We're done. We could just go back home." So that was my second one. My third one, I will say New Orleans. As much as I love New Orleans, I love it. I will always, always, always go back. However, I don't recommend y'all getting a hostel there if you're a solo female traveler or just like a traveler in general. Because, look, I'm from a rugged city and I love my city, and I know there's some parts where you just don't go to. But New Orleans was definitely the first vacation I ever took where I felt more unsafe in my destination at moments than I actually did ever in my travels and also in my own hometown. And I was just like, okay. So my hostel, I went to Sierra Mardi Gras. I loved I loved New Orleans, but I was very uncomfortable. Not because the hostel was bad. It was truly amazing. It was lovely. The staff were amazing, and I connected with them so well. And they like to give you free stuff when we really bond with the locals. But my hostel was in the hood, y'all, and I didn't even know that because the reviews were raving. They were just like, "Oh yeah, it's amazing. It's lovely." And I was like, "Okay, bet. I'll be okay. Cool." But no, if I lost my key at my hostel, I would have been locked out for the night because they had a very strict policy where if you lose your key, you can't come back in until like 7 a.m. in the morning. And I was like, okay, let me make sure I had my key at all times. And the front desk lady, she was so sweet. She said, "Hey, I'm gonna let you know I love my city, but make sure you do not lose this key because, girl, they will not let you back in if you lose this. If you lose this key, you'll be stuck out there." And she said, "I'm gonna keep it real with you. I love New Orleans, but this place is not the safest for you to be out by yourself late at night." And I was like, okay. I said, "Girl, I do sense a little bit of the hood vibe here. I told my city, I said, is there any places I should not go to?" She said, "Well, I wouldn't say not go to, but more like be careful. Definitely Bourbon Street, of course, but sometimes around here, I'm not trying to scare you, but just be careful and watch yourself. I feel like you know how to take care of yourself, but just be careful." And I respect that because I'm a local, I'm new. She wasn't trying to scare me off or ruin my vacation. So power to you, girl. But oh my gosh, I knew I was in the hood because as soon as 10 p.m. hit, babes, like that door, I heard the locks go like that, and I was like, oh yep, I'm in the hood. Oh lord. um, Overall, I think it was a good stay, but I can tell as soon as that sun went down, I definitely saw a lot. Um, I guess we'll go to the not so humorous side and trigger warning. There's gonna be a few spooky themes in this. Um, I was coming back and I was hanging out with these two girls I met in my hostel, and it was fun. We had so much fun. However, we saw this gentleman just laying out on the street right in front of our hostel, and the thing is, though, too, you see something, you say something, of course, but New Orleans, you really do have to be careful because unfortunately, that happens a lot, and sometimes some things are just truly beyond your control. And the best thing you could do as a tourist is to just kind of mind your business. But this one, we definitely had to say something because homie was on the floor, this man, and he lost his friends because he got hammered. And this poor man was just laying out on the floor, and everyone was like walking over him or past him. And I was just like, this man is literally on the floor, and y'all walking over him? And basically, what had happened is that he OD'd, and his skin was blue. And I was like, oh, no, 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 we gotta, like, me and the girls, we were just like, oh, no, we gotta call for help. Like, we gotta call, the ambulance. And basically, what had happened was that we we kicked him and whatever. I know it sounds bad, but he was just that out of it. At first, I said, "Sir, are you coherent? Can you hear us?" And the other girl, she was aggressive. She was a New Yorker. She's like, sir, with her foot. She's like, you need to wake up. We both were just like, this is a dangerous city. You don't need to be out here like that. But she was more aggressive. But for me, I was just like, hey, this place is not the safest for you to just be laying on the ground like that. And I said, on top of all that, your pocket is open. I think someone took your wallet. And he wasn't the best coherent, of course. But he was like, I'm alright, all sluggish. And when I saw his eyes, like his pupils were like covering his eyes. You could tell it was more than alcohol now. And I said, sir, your skin is turning blue. You need some help. I'm calling 911. And he was like, no, I'm alright. And I'm just like, this man is not alright. Like, your skin is turning blue, bestie. Like, you need to go seek some help. So, of course, we read the situation correctly. I called 911, but the other girl, like, I told her, I say, hey, don't kick him like that, because, you just never know. You got to be careful. Just keep your distance and call 911. So that's when we got the police, and, they were asking him questions and stuff. And, I said, I think, he got robbed because his pocket was open. I saw that it was kind of flat. Like, how, like, a wallet used to kind of be there. But, like, when it's taking out your pocket, at least that little, like, bulk. But his friends finally found him. And I will keep the man's name secret out of privacy. But his friend was like, yo, you that effed up, yo? And that's when I was just like, oh my god. And I was like, sorry. I told him, I said, sorry, we really had to call, like, the ambulance because he wasn't looking good. And everyone's like, it's alright, we got him, thank you, though. But I'm just like, you just let your best friend just stroll in the dangerous streets of New Orleans while he was just, like, hammered and effed up and all kinds of stuff and not even chase after him? Some friends y'all are. Yeah, that was scary, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little emotionally desensitized to it because of, being a city girl. But unfortunately, those one of the days I'm just like, I'm alright. I don't have to stay out late in New Orleans. It's okay. I'll put a curfew on myself. Excuse me. Another thing too is like, girl, it's not funny, but I swear I saw so much that night. And that was freshly after we went to Walgreens. Now this is the part I'm going to have to pace myself a bit because even to this day I'm just like, oh my god, thank God I was protected. Thank God we were all protected. So we were at the Walgreens there, and we were just picking up like some souvenirs and stuff. I was just really admiring like being in a different state because honestly y'all, like when y'all travel to a different state, you actually feel like sometimes you're in a different country because the vibe's different, the people are different, the standards are different. It can be pretty dope. So to all my international viewers out there, that's what I love about the States. Um, so gotta be with me when I tell a story. We were in Walgreens and we were shopping like I told y'all. And this man came in and he was affiliated, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know. And basically he was doing stuff he has to do, about that lifestyle. And he got, caught, and it was just so aggressive. Like he got extremely aggressive, extremely livid. He was irate. Like even for me, like I was starting to get nervous. So I'm just like I never ever seen that stuff up close like that. So he got pissed off and he said, "I'm a do everybody this mother effing." I was like, "Oh my god!" And I was in there too. And he threatened to shoot up the store, and I literally panicked. And like internally, and everyone else was panicking internally, because it's just like, look, we're not at home. Like their type of crime is so different from like back at home crime. So everyone literally froze in panic. I was in a panic, but I was quiet about it. I was trying to stay calm, but inside I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And I basically told the people, the people I was with, I was just like, "Look, we need to get out of here." I said, "We need to get out of here. We need to get out of here." And I had to get aggressive because I'm just like, "Did y'all not just see what the hell happened?" And basically, some people you just gotta be careful who you hang out with. One, the girls I was with, she would just like look at me like, "What's the problem?" Girl, what do you mean it's a problem? We could end up. Alright. So I was in a position where I couldn't necessarily like leave the group because it's not safe to, especially like in situations like that. You definitely don't want to just like do things on your own, and you don't really know where you're going. So that happened in my first night. I was spooked out of my mind, and I'm not gonna lie, I stayed in the hostel like as soon as like 7 p.m. hits, unless it was like the Mardi Gras parades, I was in. Yeah, I was in. I said nope, and I was very careful, and I started to do like a lot of things solo, like in the daytime, because I was like, nah, I'm alright. Like I don't want to risk that. So yeah, like that is part one of my horror stories, for traveling, and there definitely will be many more to come. I just had to be careful because I was thinking about putting some on TikTok, but I was like, some of the themes of my travels, from the horror story, they might not be appropriate for that platform, so I'm gonna post them on here instead. So I'm also about to upload the Coney Island vlog, so I'm so excited for y'all to see that. So y'all get like this one, my not so fun travels, but also my Coney Island vlog. So yay! Thank y'all so much for y'all support. The Buy Me a Coffee link will be down below, and many more to come, y'all. Like, every coffee will sponsor your girl to get some tea and, fuel up, create amazing art, and sell that. My business is a weirdo named Cake. And also just to support other businesses and small Etsy shop owners and people who truly deserve their support. Like, we're not gonna support corporate cultures. We're gonna support, how should I say it? Businesses that brings purpose, matter, and healing to the community. I like that better. XOXO babies, and y'all know where to find me, and the links are gonna be below my socials.